They say every town has its secrets, but I grew up in one where secrets didn't just whisper, they screamed behind closed doors. My name is Emily Barnes, and the woman I called Mom all my life was not the mother the world believed she was. Grace Barnes was elegant, poised, and beautiful in that old Hollywood way, with flawless skin and deep-set hazel eyes that could silence a room. People admired her from afar, respected her in person, and feared her without even knowing why. I grew up in a gray-shingled farmhouse just outside Charlottesville, Virginia, surrounded by oak trees and winding gravel roads. It was the kind of place you'd drive past and never think twice about. I used to sit on the porch swing watching the fireflies, wondering why I always felt a chill that didn't match the weather. By the time I turned 16, I knew the house held more than just memories. It held truths buried deeper than the roots of those old trees. There were whispers from neighbors about my father, Daniel. I was told he died in a car crash when I was 2, but there were no photos of the wreck, no gravestone, only one black and white picture of him, standing behind Grace with a stiff smile and one hand on her shoulder like it had been placed there for the camera, not for affection. She told me he had been distant, cold, and that his loss, though tragic, had been for the best. I never questioned her. Not until the night I came home from a friend's birthday party and saw her in the kitchen, knees bloodied, breathing hard, whispering something over and over like a prayer. When she saw me, she straightened quickly and forced a smile. Just a slip on the cellar stairs, she said. Nothing to worry about. But the blood didn't match the story. From then on, I noticed everything. The locked basement door she never opened when anyone else was around. The way she changed the subject when I asked about her family. The men who came to the house, always briefly, always quietly, always gone by morning. I never saw them again. I never heard their names. Years passed. I graduated high school and left for college in Chicago, determined to live a life that didn't revolve around shadows. I met a man named Jacob. He was warm in the ways Grace had never been. A financial analyst, calm and rational. Someone who liked things that made sense. He grounded me. We married when I was 25. He wanted children, but I kept finding reasons to wait. Something in me knew I wasn't ready to pass anything down. Not when I hadn't even unraveled what had been passed to me. I hadn't seen Grace in almost 3 years when the phone rang. It was Sheriff Keller, the same man who'd been patrolling our roads since I was a teenager. His voice was slow, heavy. He told me she was gone. They found her at the bottom of her basement stairs, neck broken, eyes still open. No signs of foul play. No evidence of a break-in. Just Grace Barnes, silent forever, in the place she kept the most locked. I returned to Virginia the next day, the autumn air colder than I remembered. The house stood unchanged, except for the overgrown lawn and a strange sense of stillness. Inside, dust coated everything. The air smelled like lavender and something older, something more bitter. I wandered through the rooms like a ghost, touching the wallpaper, opening drawers, half expecting her to call out from the next room. But there was only silence. In the basement, I stood at the top of the stairs and stared down into the dimness. The same stairs she had supposedly fallen on. I took each one slowly, my flashlight cutting through the dark. The walls were lined with shelves and covered furniture, but something about the far end of the room felt wrong. The cement there was newer, less cracked, slightly off color. My heart pounded. I moved some boxes and found a small spot where the wall had a seam. A false panel. It took me 3 hours to open it. My hands were scraped and raw by the time it gave way. Inside was a narrow hollow space. What I found made me fall to my knees. Bones. Small. Human. Wrapped in a faded blanket. And a letter. It was addressed to my sunshine. My heart stopped. That was what she used to call me when I was little. The handwriting wasn't hers. It was a man's. The letter was dated June 1997. I tried, Emily. I tried to take you with me, but she wouldn't let go. She said if I fought her, she'd make sure you never saw daylight again. I don't know how to save you. I just hope someday you'll find this and understand. I never wanted to leave you. It was signed Daniel Barnes. My father hadn't died in a car crash. He had died in our house. And she had buried the truth beneath our feet. I called Sheriff Keller, who had the bones tested. The DNA confirmed what I already knew. My mother had killed my father and lied to me for 3 decades. There were no records of a car crash. She had never even filed a death certificate. The man had simply vanished. Until now, the town was shaken, but no one was truly surprised. Grace had always been an enigma. There were murmurs of other disappearances. Men who had gotten too close, then moved away suddenly or just stopped showing up. Nothing had ever stuck to her. Until now, when she no longer had a voice to defend herself. I inherited everything. The house, the antiques, the money in a bank account I'd never known about. It should have felt like justice, but it didn't. It felt like ash. I stayed in the house longer than I planned. Jacob didn't come. I didn't ask him to. I told him I needed time to sort things out, but I think deep down I needed to face it alone. One night, while sorting through old photo albums, I found a hidden envelope. Inside was a photograph I had never seen. A man with dark hair and eyes just like mine, holding a baby wrapped in a pink blanket. On the back, with my girls. Always. I stared at that photo for hours. She had taken him from me, and then taken him from memory. But she couldn't erase our blood, and she hadn't been careful enough. She wrote of jealousy, so fierce it burned, of wanting to protect me from his lies, from his half-breed son. One entry chilled me to the bone. If he comes back, I'll bury him too. I'll bury all of them if I have to. I showed the journal to Sheriff Keller. It reopened more investigations. One of them led to a woman named Claire Richardson, who had dated Daniel before he met Grace. She had a son, Nathan. He would have been around 10 when my father disappeared. At the kitchen table, the storm crackling outside, our past unraveling between us. There was a strange intimacy in the silence, in the way we studied each other's faces like mirrors. That night we shared more than words. Not touch, not entirely, but something unspoken. Something heavy. It was wrong, maybe. Or maybe it was the only right thing in a world where everything else had been stolen. He left the next morning with no promises. Just a long look and a gentle squeeze of my hand. I still don't know what to do with everything she left behind. The house is mine, but it doesn't feel like home. The antiques are valuable, but I don't want their history. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. Sure, I hear her voice in the walls, whispering the same lies she fed me all my life. I think I'll sell the house, donate the money, maybe start over in a place where no one knows my name. But I'll keep the photograph, the one of Daniel holding me. Proof that once I was loved by someone other than her. I carry them now, not because I choose to, but because the truth always comes to light, and blood never lies.